Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here this morning for a Ginga in the Morning. It's episode 55, aka season 3, episode 1. You might notice that my pop filter is gone. That's because it doesn't do anything. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything. And what does do something is offsetting the microphone to the side a bit so that when I go pop, bop. With plosives, the air is going this way and not directly at the diaphragm of the microphone. So, no pop filter because it's useless and it just blocks more of my face and sucks. Yeah. Also, I should move myself slightly this way. Yeah. And I should grab these boys and bring them into... Yep. Reinhard, why are you falling over like that? What are you doing? What are you doing there, bud? What's with this? What's with this, Reinhard? Why are you doing this? What the fuck? Oh, okay, that's not any better. Is that better? That's better. Okay, that'll do. That'll do, Reinhard. That'll do. So, last time on Ginga Eiyuu Densetsu, RIP Alliance. The war is over. The Alliance lost. Yang lost. And had a really interesting conversation with Reinhard, where, like, they've got some mutual respect. And now Yang is just, like, retired. Which is what he always wanted. And Reinhard has the universe, which is what he always wanted. So what the fuck is gonna happen? What can happen? I guessed and surmised at the end of the last episode that the plot points from here are going to be more political and less military, and that the Earth Cult is going to do things and stuff. I don't know if that's true. I don't know anything. I'm completely in the dark, and I just want to get into the next one, so let's get into the next one. Yeah. Let's do this. I'm gonna have notes up on screen this time, just because I feel like it. So, yeah. Wow, what a pleasant episode. There are hints of unrest, and then narrator-san at the end is like, we're moving toward an era of unrest. Oh, okay. Alright, narrator-san, if you say so. Let me scroll up through the notes. So, the new OP is super, like, it's kind of bombastic. It's like, it's got some stuff to it. It's cool. And it's got Reinhard with the long hair in it. I wonder if there will be a time skip at some point, because that length of hair is like at least a year's growth. You know, that's long hair. So if that's where we end up at the end of this season, I feel like there might be a time skip. I don't know. And Yang sort of takes a background role in the OP, so I'm wondering if that's going to be consistent with what we actually get in the show. He ascends to Kaiser, we have a modest banquet, and again sort of comment on how things have changed from the old empire. We talk about how Hilda is super pragmatic, and has been since she was a child. Mariendorf is the new Secretary of State, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if he's got the mind for politics, but he's there. We didn't see any Oberstein in this episode, which was interesting. And then we talked about Heinrich and the possibility of having Reinhard visit Heinrich. And we know from before that Heinrich is part of the Earth Cult's plans to some extent. And he desperately wants to leave his mark on history. And I get the feeling that he doesn't care how he leaves his mark on history. Just, like, that he does. So I'm wondering if the plan is to, like, have Heinrich attempt to assassinate Reinhard. I feel like that's a bad idea, but I don't know. we've got the marriage, and it sort of just doesn't happen on screen. We just sort of skip from walking down the aisle to the after party, or the reception, which was kind of great. I liked that because we know what happens in between. We can just figure that out. It's like, okay. Konev's got his new ship, the Undutiness, which again was featured heavily in the ED, so I feel like we're going to follow that ship around for a good while. Frederica is the biggest spoil of war. A miracle? Yes, absolutely. And then on the ship, we've got Willick back, which is kind of neat. I liked him as a character, and I like his voice actor, so that was good to see. We met this new character, Silver Bershe, or Bershe, something like that. The guy with the stubble. And he seems interesting. I don't know why, but I'm immediately like, this is an interesting character. He's sort of like, he reminds me of Yang a little bit. Like, gruff, unshaven, sort of aloof a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be a major character, but I feel like he is. And he's been given some heavy positions and stuff. And he's the Minister of Industry, right? And he's in control of like industry and finance and trade and like all kinds of stuff. So that's pretty crazy. And then we get the idea that Reinhard wants to move the capital from the traditional capital on Odin to Fazan. And that is a brilliant move because it sets him and his control of the fleet right in the middle of the two arms of his empire, right in the middle of the galaxy. And it's a defensible corridor. So it can be isolated if necessary. If there are like revolts or something, it can be isolated. And it gives him a pathway into both arms of his empire. It's brilliant. Plus, like, setting his capital there makes it so that Fazan is just basically unable to, like, revolt and regain its independence, which is good for Reinhard. It might piss off the people of Fazan, but small price to pay, I think. We go and we meet Merkatz. We get the line "Man cannot oppose destiny" from Mashengo twice, which was like, okay. I wonder if that's got some implications. It might. And then we get some hints at these almost 2,000 battleships that are going to be destroyed, and sort of an encoded message, if you will, that Merkatz should look to take care of that. So I assume that means attacking whatever fleet is stationed around them during the destruction and stealing all the ships. Pretty cool. I don't know where he'll find the crew to man the ships, but it doesn't matter. That's something that can be figured out later. I liked the lines about there's no reason to set fire to the savannah during the rainy season because the dry season will come. Just like patience. Just be patient. 5 or 6 years. Long wait. So again, I feel like we might get a time skip. And then we met this pilot girl who's like cute and had a line and like love interest for Julian, who's not Charlotte. I'm a big fan of that because the whole like you're gonna marry Charlotte thing is like, why? Why? So she's former Empire, which kind of makes sense for Julian, because Julian's sort of, his loyalty is to Yang, not to the democracy necessarily. And he sort of is a character that stands between, in terms of his personality and stuff like that. At this point, I see him as standing sort of in between Yang and Reinhard. He's brilliant and an excellent soldier, and a good fighter in his own right. He's also orderly and stuff like that. He just doesn't have any established personal motivations. He just sort of goes along with the flow at this point. The first motivation that he's had is, I want to go to Earth and check out what's there. But everything else that he's done has been sort of just going along with the flow, taking orders from Yang, stuff like that. So I wonder what he will grow into, who Julian will become. I don't know. And yeah, we got that line where she watched the ship leave and she's thinking about him too, you know? Like, what's the big deal about a soft guy like that? Hey, don't you diss my boy Julian. He's not soft. He's a cold, hard killer. With a heart of gold. So, yeah, and then moving toward an era of unrest, okay? And then the ED was, like, peaceful and pleasant, and, like, everybody hanging out, having a picnic outside in bright light. It was super cool. This was a great start to a new season. I cannot wait to see where we go from here. I got no clue. But I guess we'll follow Meerkats in his mission. And I guess we'll follow... I know we'll follow Julian to Earth. And we could get some interesting stuff being built up around, like, the spies and Yang and stuff like that. But for now, I think Yang just has to lay low. And if we see any of him, it'll be sort of slice of life marriage stuff. Which is sort of cool. And then I guess on the Empire side, maybe we'll go into the details of the difficulties of moving the Empire's capital. Once we've dealt with this Heinrich thing, like, I don't know what's going to happen there, but I figure it's going to be an important plot point since we've been building up to it for so long. I mean, our first introduction to Heinrich was how long ago? It was a long time ago. It was near the beginning of the last season, I think. He was just sort of introduced as a side character with no indication of whether he would be of any interest later, but now he's coming to the fore, so we'll see what that means. I don't know. Lots of interesting things happening, but the tone of the show has changed quite a bit now that the war has ended. Yeah. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Ginga in the Morning, episode 55. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.